Hello, welcome to the Data Channel, and you're watching Python Bootcamp for Data Professional series. And today in this video, as a part of the topic 7, we will discuss about executing the Python code. So executing a Python program. So once you create a Python program, maybe simple program to complex program, so you save it as a particular .py format. And then you start executing that using the Python command line. So when we say command line, it is a black screen, right? So that we will see in the demo, but that is what we want to show you. How do you execute the Python code in the command line, and also the interactive mode. There is an interactive mode in Python command line as well. So we will see how to use that interactive mode as well, right? So both the options we will see. So before proceeding, if you are new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So as said, what we will be explaining in this particular video is definitely execute Python in command line, right? And create Python file and run Python file. And also we will see running Python in interactive mode, right? And also we'll run the, like in the interactive mode, we'll show how to start interactive mode, use the interactive mode, and then exit from the interactive mode. So with that, we will jump to the quickly to the practicals of it. So now I will go to the directory where exactly my Python was installed. So as we explained in the previous video, it is always best practice to use create a virtual environment or virtual location for your executing the Python code. So in the previous video, we have seen how we have created this virtual virtual environment where I've created a PRG1, that is project one, like for the first project which we are working. Um, so ideally you can keep the Python anywhere else, like you can keep Python in C drive directly, or you can keep in a desktop, like anywhere you can keep the Python code. But it is always best practice to keep create a virtual environment and keep that file in that virtual environment. So in this virtual environment called PRG1, so I have created a folder called programs. So other folders will be by default, it will be there once you create a virtual environment. And I will just go here and create a I'll just create a file here, right? So I'll name it as hello.py, right? And so once I create this hello.py, I will just open this file, and in this file I'll just print as hello the data channel, right? So I'll just save this. So what I'm expecting is just to print hello the data channel here, right? I'll just save it and close it. So once you close it, you can just open the command line. And once you open the command line, right, so make sure you always make sure you're always in that particular directory where your exactly the program is, right? So here what I will do is so I'll just do dir and see where exactly my file is there. My file is there. So here I can directly write I can directly go and execute the Python code. So where I'll give Python py.txt, right? That is my file name. So it has successfully printed that hello d data channel, right? And so if there is any issues, first of all, you need to check whether the Python is properly installed in your machine, right? So you can just type Python hyphen space hyphen hyphen version. So then you can see Python is installed here, right? So coming back to this directories, so you might wonder like what is this .py, and I'm able to see, I can even save it as even like say .txt. Doesn't matter actually, right? So if I save it as txt and come back to this, and when I try to execute this, maybe I'll try dir and see what are the, yeah, it is txt.txt, right? So you just give txt.txt. Okay. So it doesn't matter, right? So end of the day, you give any file name. So this is a text file, that is why by default it is taking like that, right? So if I give now hello.txt, it's still executing. That means then there might be a question, right? Like why do we really need the extension, right? Suppose like the best practice is always it is to use the .py as a file name, right? File extension. So that it will be, you will be always able to, just a moment, just execute this and come out. So I just want to copy hello.txt to hello.py, right? So once I copy this, if you can go back and see, right here, my Python actual, if you see the Python symbol is also here right now. So you can really see a Python symbol. That means it is a Python file. The system is able to recognize it as a Python file. So the main thing here is the naming convention, right? So like even though it is txt, txt.txt, still the Python code is executing. But think about a scenario where you have thousands of file or like millions of files, so where you want to execute your Python code, and there are a lot of people who are working in a similar project, so they will not be able to identify which is exactly the Python code. So that is why it is always best practice to use a .py as a Python extension and execute the code. So this is clear, right? So this is what we call as a command prompt. How do you execute a particular program in a command line interface, right? And always make sure, and you can even run from any directory. So you can even you can come out of one directory, right? So you can come out one level, and you can still execute the Python in the different directory as well, whichever the Python code is, right? So in that case, you need to give that absolute path, right? Suppose if this is my absolute path, so I can just copy this and paste, and then after programs, I have I have hello.py, right? So I can still execute that by giving the complete path. So this is also one of the option you can you have to execute a particular program, right? So basically, running a Python code from the command line is basic operation that you do because there are other interfaces, there are other interactive what we call the IDEs, right? IDEs and the text editor, so that we will see in the coming videos. But this is simple but powerful to execute the Python script. It is especially useful for doing some quick test scripting and automation kind of scenarios by understanding how to navigate directories, run script, and troubleshoot common issues. So you'll be well equipped to leverage the Python's capability from the command line because you if once you can still use the IDEs and the text editors, but as a programmer you might still some programmers still use in like interactive command line, which is also looks powerful for them. It is again how do you use it, but a few programmers still prefer use the black screen, right? And you can also think of executing the Python program in a uh, what you say by passing the arguments, right? So how do you pass the argument? Let me first of all create a Python code, right? I'll just create second.py, or else let me edit this code itself, right? So here what exactly I'm doing is I'm taking the arguments, right? And so when we say, like when we create this kind of interact like argument based, when you're expecting arguments to be asked by the program, right? So then you need to use a sys. So you need to import sys, right? So this is important, which is a module which accepts the command line arguments. So without this module, you will not be able to use the command line arguments. So we will see what exactly the command line arguments when you execute this file, right? And first let us save this file, close this, and again let's open the command line interface here, which we are already in, right? So let me close this. So we have hello in this particular hello.py, so where we have done the modification. Um, so if you really see this particular code hello.py, we'll again try to open that file. So what we are doing is we are checking the length, right? So here, if it is not equal to 3, so then we are telling Python script with this two arguments, and we are exiting. So if there is anything else, we will execute first argument we will assign to arg1, second argument we will assign to arg2, and then we will execute arg1 and arg2, right? So this is what we are trying to do. Like, and end of the day, if the arguments are successfully given, so I'm expecting argument 1 to be printed here and argument to be printed here, right? We'll come back to this again after execution. So let's go to this execution now and let us see. So now what I'll do is I'll just type Python. So now what I'll do is I'll just type Python here, and then I'll actually give the Python code, and I'll just give hello the data channel. So basically, if you really see how many strings I'm giving here, like after Python, I'm giving 1, 2, 3 strings, right? So once I execute that, so it is actually saying argument 1 is hello, argument 2 is the data channel, right? Suppose I give another argument saying that bye, right? So what exactly it is throwing the error or the warning, that is Python script, this particular script that we have written. So maybe I need to change the file name just for the readability, right? So this particular file name is here in our case is hello, right? Hello.py. I'll just save it and re-execute. So it says the usage of this hello.py is it's expecting argument 1 or argument 2. So if I'm giving argument 3, it is showing me the usage. That means it is showing the warning basically, right? So when the warning will be executed, so as you saw here, if the length is not equal to 3, if the length is exactly equal to 3, then it will not throw error. So here 3 means this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, right? If the fourth element is coming, it will throw error. And also we will see what happens if you give only the two strings here, or the two arguments here, right? So it will still throw error. So it exactly looks for three arguments, right? So first one is 0, 1, 2. What is 0 is? 0 is the file name itself. This is the 0 is file name itself, and after that we are taking the arguments. So similarly, you can take n number of arguments, right? You can pass n number of arguments as your program needs. Suppose you want to do addition of two numbers, so here you can give first, here you can take first number, here you can take second number, and then it will give the addition and it will give the result. It is interactive, right? It is actually doing the interactively. It is asking you the parameters and it is displaying the results, right? Even though this is interactive, this is not the interactive mode, so this is just a command line. But there is something called as interactive mode itself in Python. So to enter into the interactive mode, so what you need to do is you just need to enter like Python, type Python and just press enter. So now you will enter into the interactive mode. It will show you the version, and exactly it will make you enter into the interactive mode. If you see this 3 symbols where it is greater than symbols or arrows kind of symbol, then you are in the interactive mode. So this interactive mode is quite easy for kind of a debugging or understanding coding, right? You can just type in hello, the data channel here itself, right? So you can print anything, okay? And it will just print that particular values, okay? So that's quite easy, right? And so we can use interactive mode in many different ways. Suppose I want to give x equals to 10, enter, y equals to 20, then z equals to x plus y, okay? So then what I'll do is I'll just print z. So it is printing 30, right? So that is how we can pretty much use the interactive mode where you need not execute the Python code entirely. You can just write line by line. So that is why it is called as an interactive mode or interactive shell for that matter, right? And you can do like multiple different things here. Like you do a import of say math, right? And then math dot you want to take a square root of say 16 number. So it will give the value of square root of 16, right? And even you can think of like defining like function here. So you can define suppose like greet function, okay, and then give tab. So because Python is very indentation oriented program, so you need to be very careful about giving those indentation properly. So then here I give name in square bracket, so to greet that particular person whichever is passed as a, right? Again press enter, come out. Now I'll call this method or function that I've created, right? So I'll say the data channel. Okay, I have missed closing a, right. So here it is greeting me. So what happens is it is I'm calling this function which I have created here. So the name will be passed here and it says hello the data channel, right? So how do you exit from the interactive shell? So this is an interactive shell, right? And if you want to go back to the normal mode, interactive out of this interactive shell, so you just need to press exit, open bracket and close bracket. So you'll be able to exit gracefully from the interactive shell, right? And this is very simple to understand how exactly you are running different ways of working the interactive shell and the normal command line.